Welcome to another episode of SwillinGrog's Wonderful World of Beer. Today I'll be reviewing Martens Pils, 5% alcohol by volume, brewed and canned by the Martens Brewery in Belgium. Now this is a brew that I decided to take a punt on a few weeks ago when I saw it for $27.95 a carton, which is pretty damn good in Australian terms, because here you'll pay about $40 or more for your average carton of beer. So is it going to be another hammer and tongs? Well, let's crack it open and find out, shall we? Okay. Alright, giving it a nice crack there, and of course I'm going to pour it into the Spiegelau Pilsner glass. Hope it wasn't too aggressive a pour. Okay. Alright, well, in terms of its appearance, it's a very, very pale, somewhat hazy, golden yellow colour. There's a decent amount of head there, nice bright white head. We've got about just a little under 2 fingers, in fact. It's very carbonated. I think the camera should actually be picking that up with this light. So yeah, it looks good. Now, onto the aroma. Alright, well, the aroma is an interesting one. Picking up some very sweet cereal grains there. And there's definitely a fainter presence of some grassy hops as well. But all in all, what you would expect for this style of beer. Alright, well, it's time for the most important part of the review, the taste test. So a huge cheers to you all. Let's dive in. Okay, well, it's got a nice hop bite there. There's a definite, hop presence. I am, picking up, some lemon and even green apple, like in the finish. That's, kind of bittersweet and does kind of linger in the palate, a great deal, surprisingly. Up front, of course, you've got some, sweet grains. Almost, bready. There's a slight sort of breadiness to it, but, it's not overly bready, or as bready as, one would kind of hope for in a brew such as this, but it's decent. Yeah, so I think it's time I took another gulp. Well, it is certainly, holding that, taste profile. It's, fairly light-bodied beer, but, I wouldn't call it, watery. It's got a, nice, semi-dry finish as well. But, yeah, that, sort of taste, that bittersweet taste of, green apple and lemon that lingers in the palate it's quite interesting. I think it, almost gives it its own distinctive kind of, taste, as a matter of fact. Yeah, I've never really had anything, quite like that, with the Pilsner. So, yeah, it's certainly one worth checking out. I'm pretty happy with it. I mean, taking into account, the price that I paid for the carton of it. Is it drinkable? Well, of course, it's very drinkable and very sessionable too. You could throw back a lot of these, particularly on a hot summer's day. Not such a great beer for the winter, but yeah, I did kind of buy this just before it, really did start to get cold here, and I've got quite a few of them left too. I've actually been, drinking the Guinness lately, so this, yeah, hasn't, moved as quickly as I thought it would from the refrigerator. Anyway, I think it's time to wrap this up and give it a score out of 10, so I'll have one last gulp. Alright, well, all in all, it's a pretty decent Pilsner. The price point is excellent for those of you in Australia. Although, you know, in the rest of the world, you know, $27.95 just sounds ludicrous for a carton of beer. Anyway, in terms of a score out of 10, I'd be happy to give it a 7.75 out of 10. Alright, so there you go. That's another SwillinGrog beer review wrapped up. Okay, so thanks for joining me, and until next time, fare thee well, all.